Welcome back. Market's holding up okay, but the one stock that's kind of sulking a bit this afternoon is ITC, you'd have to say. It's been down right from the morning and now it's just grinding towards the lows of the day with about a 2% drop. And we should also note that some of the banks are losing a bit of the steam, a little bit of the momentum. So BOB and ICICI Bank both are off the highest point of the day. But no worries, because the Nifty Bank is still holding up nice and steady with a gain of 1%. Sandeep Wagle joining in this afternoon. Sandeep, good afternoon. What are your trades?
Afternoon, Surabhi. I would go with a buy in a L&T Finance Holding, stop loss of 171, target 185, and a sell in a LIC Housing Finance, stop loss 705, target 666.
Okay, Sandeep, thanks a lot for those trading ideas. Time to take up some of the viewer queries coming in on social media. First up, we have a Twitter user wanting to invest 60,000 Ashwini for short term, 6 months to 1 year, and he selected the stocks as well, Maruti, Eicher, or Hero MotoCorp. Your thoughts?
So he wants to choose amongst these stocks?
Among these three, yes.
Because the query I have says that he has already bought, 10, 20 of in numbers of all of these and wants to know what further he needs to do.
Okay, let's go with that then.
Well, he has, I think 10 of Eicher, 10 of Maruti, 10 of DMart. He wants to know whether he wants to add on Rise. I think he should. If you have 10, add 5 on and continue to carry all of these stocks. No problem with any of these. And as they rise another 10%, add another 5 stocks. So till the uptrend continues, I think you'll be building up a fairly decent position. We have seen that often stocks which start rallying like Eicher, Maruti, etc., they tend to continue for a long time. So once you have your core position on, then you can just keep adding.
All right, the next query is from Ria. She holds 200 shares of Glenmark Pharma. Her buy price is 670. So she's in the money on Glenmark right now. Wants to know if this is a good bet to hold on further. Mr. Tulsian, Glenmark, interesting. I mean, Q4 was such a washout. So comparatively, Q1 is looking better for the company. The US business has at least not disappointed this time. Do you think the worst is over? Is there any merit in holding the shares?
See, Surabhi, we have been keeping a neutral to avoid call on all the pharma stocks. But those who are, if maybe to have the balancing portfolio, you need to have some pharma stocks, and those who are compulsive buyers, that they want to, or those who are already invested wants to retain it. So yes, we have a preference for 3 pharma stocks, that is Aurobindo Pharma, Glenmark and Divi's Lab, because Divi's Lab having corrected after this dull Q1 numbers, Aurobindo Pharma again very good in the very good space with the expected EPS of 48-49 for the current year. Glenmark having posted excellent numbers for Q1. So maybe if he has a liking to have pharma stocks in his portfolio, Glenmark is the right choice. And if he is, but for that he need to have a minimum view of about 12 months or so. Yeah.
Okay, the sudden fall in Indo count. Let's just pull out the intraday chart of that stock, FNO stock. So it's really interesting the way that stock has fallen. By the way, Balrampur Chini has moved to high point of the day after we, Mr. Tulsian also clarified that the numbers actually are quite good. There was a bit of a disappointment immediately post numbers, but now the stock has reclaimed the high point. That's Balrampur Chini, but Indo count is a stock which is seeing a bit of a downtick. Our next Twitter user has 100 shares of Kotak at 780 rupees. Hold or sell is the query on that. Mr. Tulsian, thoughts here?
Anuj, simple answer, hold, because if I really want to choose 3 bank stocks amongst the private sector and having a reasonable size, or maybe the reasonable size and all that, probably Yes Bank, Kotak and RBL Bank. Obviously Kotak is the largest amongst all 3, followed by Yes, and third is the RBL Bank. And looking to the Q1 numbers having posted by the Kotak Bank and the kind of growth visibility which you see for the bank in terms of the core business growth and the asset quality, I think it's an excellent bank to have in portfolio, and advise to hold the stock from a long-term perspective.
And the last query today on Closing Bell is from Archit. He's got 3,000 shares of V-Guard, the stock that's just been knocked out because of numbers right now. His horizon is only the next 10 days. Unfortunately, we don't have the buy price. Request all our viewers to also share your purchase price with us. Helps our experts give you a more accurate answer. Ashwini, V-Guard?
See, V-Guard was in a strong uptrend. Apparently, the results have not been very good. But as long as it kind of holds on to, say, basically 160, 165, I think he can still hold on and maybe get 240, 250. Bad results are part of life, but overall the stock looks positive.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks for taking all the viewer queries. Of course, stay on. We'll discuss some more stocks with you. But it's Monday, and that means it's time for our Monday special Midcap Mania with Nigel D'Souza. Nigel?
Well, Anuj, before we start, y'all have been talking about the markets being at frothy valuations. So just keep an eye out. Some of these mid-caps have really run away. In Midcap Mania, we're focusing on educating about the company. So the company we're talking about is Vidhi Specialty Food and Ingredients. Just keep an eye out on that one. And as the name suggests, in fact, it's the color that you use in the foods itself. It's the leading manufacturer of superior synthetic food-grade colors, and if you're going to be consuming it in some form, definitely the US FDA, you have to get an approval coming in from the US FDA, and they have got an approval coming in from there. So that's important. Where is this really used? It's used in a whole host of products. So some of those pictures should be up for you on the screen, whether it's your toothpaste, your shaving cream, whether it's a jam, jellies, etc. That's where it finds its uses. And the key clients, well, the Unilevers of the world, Nestle, we have Pedigree, Sanofi. All of them in there, they are some of the customers of Vidhi. Now, if I take a look at the geographic breakup, where it's more export-oriented, more than 95% of their revenues comes in for the export markets. And in there, Europe is the big one over there. That is nearly around 40% of their total revenues. And definitely last year with Brexit, that was the point that, in fact, hurt them. In terms of, the global presence, there are only 4 players in the world that contribute nearly around 70% of the total capacity of this food color. So they are up for you on the screen. US-based Senseite, that in fact is the big one in there with nearly around 35%. The market on the whole is 40,000 tons. Out of that, Vidhi has nearly around 4,200. So roughly around 11%, 10 to around 11% of the total market. Well, in the last few years, numbers not very impressive, particularly last year, the revenue as flat as can be. If you take a look at the margins as well, there's a bit of a downtick telling you that the currency movement didn't really favor them. If you pull up the profit number as well, in fact, last year was more or less a flattish year. So let's get that as well up for you. And then after that, if you just pull up, the valuation picture, that should be up for you on the screen. Last year, they did nearly around 15 crores in terms of a profit number. Going by the current market cap, it's trading at around 23 times. ROE, ROC at around 20% odd. So it's not very cheap, but there are various triggers going ahead. So if you take a look at the production number, that's been improving in the last year as well, telling you that there was some pressure on the realization because the production number did come in higher at around 3,000 units. Well, what are the key concerns then going ahead? Forex fluctuation, they're exporters, so that's something. But what they've indicated is that they import some of their raw material. So that's a hedge, natural hedge over there. If there's a slowdown in any of those big companies, well, that'll hit them as well. And finally, the market is very concentrated in a few hands. So competition coming in from some of their global players. What they've indicated a couple of years ago is that, in fact, by 2020, they're looking at doubling their capacity. They're looking at increasing their market share in the globe from around that 11% to around 20%. And even in terms of margins, they are looking to push that up all the way to around 20%. So keep your eye out on this company. If in fact, some of these global players are going to do well, there's an entry barrier as well that works in their favor. It should be quite an interesting company. Currently, as indicated last year, 3,000 tons produced, total capacity of around 4,200. They're looking to double that. And in fact, they have the required land. That'll come at a capex of only around 50 crores. So rather interesting one. Let's see what happens from here.
Okay, Nigel, thanks a lot for that. Standard disclaimer, of course, not a stock recommendation. Interesting. Mr. Tulsan, any thoughts on this space? That's Vidhi Specialty Food, of course, up about 4%. Do you have any view on this?
See, Anuj, if you compare this Vidhi with industry that is the another peer, that is Dynamic Industry, which has reported the numbers yesterday. The Vidhi has an EPS of about sub 3 rupees for FY17, while Dynamic Industries, again a similar space in the food color and having the US FDA approval plants where the promoters have been seen increasing their holding. Also, the Dynamic Industries is having an EPS of 12 rupees. Dynamic is ruling at a P multiple of about 10-11. The share is ruling at 130. FY18 will be having an EPS of maybe about 13 to 14 rupees. So that translates into a P multiple of 10-11. And as I said, that Vidhi is ruling at a P multiple of about 21-22, having posted an EPS of sub 3 rupees for FY17. If you go on an enterprise value, I think that Vidhi has an enterprise value of closer to about 350 crore. While Dynamic Industries is having a enterprise value of closer to about 225-230 crore. So definitely the space is looking very interesting, and in fact, if you really ask me, there are only these two comparable peers and there are 3 or 4 unlisted players, and when you talk to them, in fact, they get umpteen great valuations, in the unlisted space. So this space looks per se quite interesting, but I'll definitely go with Dynamic Industries because, as I said, that on all parameters, Dynamic Industries seem to be ruling at half the valuations of Vidhi specialty, in terms of enterprise value, in terms of P multiple, in terms of profit margin, in terms of absolute number. Because I think Vidhi had a PAT of about 15 crore, while the Dynamic Industries has a better financial performance. Yes.
Okay, all right. Those are a couple of interesting mid-cap companies in focus. We will take a break on that note. On the other side, we'll get you a check across the dealing room mood today, this Monday afternoon. Stay tuned. We will, of course, also get you some ideas how to play the market in the last half hour, what to buy today to sell tomorrow, or vice versa. Our experts with us shortly.